Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Fiona and this is the space where I talk about all of my interests. Specifically today, knitting, because knitting is the main reason why I started this YouTube channel and started posting online in general. And today I wanted to do a public service slay by sharing with you all of my favorite spooky patterns that I found for spooky season. Procrastinating this video for a minute and I'm like, I need to get it up now so that way you guys can watch this, get your yarn, and cast on right in time for Halloween. This is in large part inspired by my nocturnal pullover that I have been working diligently on. I actually just frogged like 6 rows of it because I messed up on the color work, but you know what? I'm hopeful that she will be done in time for Halloween. I'm also working on another 3-color colorwork sweater with my Rhinebeck sweater. For the purposes of today's video, we're talking Halloween patterns. Halloween is my favorite holiday, so I'm so excited to talk about all the spooky knitting patterns I found for you. I have a semi-organized list based off of my Ravelry favorites, so I'm going to try to go through it in as detailed an order for you. As far as Ravelry roundups go, I'm gonna give you as much information as I can. I will tell you as many of my thoughts and feelings about each pattern. You know what? Let's just get into it. So I might as well kick off this Ravelry roundup with the Nocturnal Jumper by Sasky & Co., formerly the Petite Knitter. This is a 3-color colorwork pattern knit up in worsted weight yarn. I am knitting mine in Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino. I will put the colors that I'm using on the screen. Also, these are all wrapped up from said frogging. They're not in the pretty donuts that they were. And this is also my first time working corrugated ribbing, and I love it. It works up so much faster than doing a regular knit one, purl one, and I really like the way that it looks. You can buy this pattern on Ravelry for 13 Canadian dollars, and let me know if you're knitting one or if you have knit one for spooky season so we can match. I'm going to kind of go in order of project type. So we're gonna do sweaters, pullovers, jumpers first, and then we'll go into socks and other pattern types. The next one is The Witching Hour by Dear Ingenue. I actually saw this pattern knit up into a sample at Rhinebeck last year, and I was like, oh my god, because I love Plague Doctors. We don't need to get into that, but I love Plague Doctors, and I do think I need to knit this pattern sometime in the near future. The only thing is that I've seen with this pattern is it definitely has a major batwing effect going on. And I have really hesitated from knitting like popular patterns like the halibut sweater because of the batwing, and this one is even worse. And I understand that that's part of the design aesthetic of it, but I don't know if it's for me. I do have a backup idea for you guys if this is one that you're interested in. This is knit in DK weight. I've been a really big fan of DK weight sweaters lately. It's available for $8 USD. One thing that I really like to do when I'm doing these pattern roundups is I love looking at all the different project photos that people post because people are so creative with their color combinations. I really recommend that you look up some of the project photos for this pattern. So while we're on the topic of Dear Ingenue, she has another pattern called Dead of Night, which is basically The Witching Hour with the batwing effect sorted out. So this is a sport weight pattern. It has the same type of Plague Doctor, Raven Skull, circular yoke motif going on, but it looks like it's a much more fitted shape, and it has a lot of color work down at the bottom as well. This is also available for $8 USD. What can I say? It's such an excellent spooky season pattern. Alrighty, what's next? Alrighty, this next one is already a little bit of a departure from like an outright Halloween theme, but I simply have to include it simply for one project photo I originally saw on Facebook. It went Facebook viral. This is Dark Academia by Sharon Hartley. It is knit in fingering weight yarn on 3.5mm needles. I guess I probably should have been including needle size on all these, but I'm putting in a Ravelry screenshot anyway. You'll have all the info. It's available on Ravelry for $8.50 USD. And there is one project photo that lives in my mind rent-free. I don't know if this is a pattern that I will ever end up knitting just because I don't know if it's a sweater that would fit in my closet. Someone knit this sweater using variegated yarn as the contrast color, and it is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen in my entire life. This picture alone is what put this pattern on the map for me, and I'm obsessed with it. And I love a creative use of variegated yarn. Sometimes I'm a little bit of a variegated yarn hater just because I don't always love how it knits up versus how beautiful it looks wound up in a hank, but this is such a beautiful use of it and I'm obsessed with it. Next is Let's Boogie by Katie Franceschi. This is knit in DK weight yarn on 3.75 and 3.5 millimeter needles. It's available on Ravelry for $12.95 USD. I am just obsessed with this first photo on the project page. I can't tell if it's knit in like a true DK because it looks like it's knit with something like a mohair held double, perhaps. It's so stunning. It looks so lightweight, and especially with how hot this fall has been already, I'm so into the idea of a lightweight sweater. Also, there's some really pretty texture going on in the body. So many colors in the circular yoke. This is just like your quintessential Halloween sweater. It just evokes like the smell of the dried crunchy leaves and neighborhood suburban town trick-or-treating, which like genuinely I miss so much. A couple more sweaters and then we'll get into socks. Next is Boogie Bats by Annalisa Filippi. It's available for €4 on Ravelry. It's knit in Aran weight yarn on 5 millimeter needles, so one that's gonna definitely save your hands a little bit. I'm really pulling all the circular yoke patterns here today, aren't I? Another circular yoke, this one's bats if you prefer, over black cats, ghosts, candy corn, and plague doctors. This was super cute. Another use of a corrugated rib with more of a funnel neck rather than a true turtleneck with the nocturnal. Oh, so I'm recording this on September 30th and it is 25% off until today. So that €4 I think is the 25% discount. What's 25%? I will put the right price in instead of doing the math for you right now. But that's Boogie Bats. A lot of colorwork sweaters. One more colorwork sweater here. This is Little Scorpion by Courtney Little. The photography on this project page eats for this pattern. It's really what is selling it up front for me and what really first drew me to click on it. It's knit in fingering weight yarn on 2.75 millimeter needles. My hands hurt just thinking about that. And it's available for $12 USD. Sound off in the comments if you think that scorpions are Halloween, but like, bugs are spooky, creepy, so I think that this counts as an excellent Halloween pattern, and I really love her use of color in this one. Although I must say, after I finish both of my 3-color colorwork sweaters, I will not be doing any of that for the foreseeable future. Let me know if you're brave enough to cast this one on. And the final sweater that I have in this collection is the Arachne pullover by Hook Mountain Handmade. This is knit in Aran weight yarn with 4.5 and 5 millimeter needles. It's available on Ravelry for $8 USD. And this pattern is so cool. So I've seen the stag head pullover and I've always been really fascinated with the concept of someone creating organic shapes and like pictures with cabling techniques. And this one's just the perfect example, using what I think is cabling to create a 3-dimensional spider on the sleeves. So cool. So ooky spooky. Okay, scrolling down on the Ravelry page, it does say it's a cable chart for the spider. It comes from Barbara Walker's Third Treasury of Knitting Patterns. Let's click on that. Oh, curious. So I don't know if this is available on Ravelry, but so cool that this is reusing someone else's cable chart to knit up a whole sweater. This one just, it made my jaw drop. It really is one of the coolest and most original things that I've seen on Ravelry in a while. Shall we talk socks? I'm gonna be a fan of Sasky & Co. a little bit more here to kick off our sock section. First is the Shadow Sock by Sasky & Co. I'm sure you can assume that all of these are knit in fingering weight yarn. And this is clearly a match set for the Nocturnal pullover. If I can get my hands on some sock yarn in the right colors, I'm definitely going to be casting these on and trying to rush it for Halloween. These socks are available for $9 Canadian. I'm a cat girl, what can I say? So I do need some cat socks. Similarly to the Shadow Sock by Sasky & Co., there is also the Nocturnal sock available. Well, this is not the exact match for the Nocturnal pullover, as the name may suggest. It does feature a very cute black cat motif. Once again, available for $9 Canadian. I always think it's really cool when it's obvious that a designer has one idea and has iterated on it several times and has made a number of successful patterns as a result. Alrighty, moving right along, we have the Haunted Mansion socks by Hilka Buss. The project picture for this also made my jaw drop because I just love the way that she used the orange to make the Haunted Mansion really glow. This is available for €3.99. Please tell me how, if it's €3.99, is it €3, €3.99. Like, how do you say that? This is just a really cute, simple sock pattern with color work on the ankle and then a really basic sock to go with. So this would be a super quick Halloween knit. Going back to cat socks, because I actually have several more cat socks for you. These are the Pumpcat socks by Renard and Dormy. This pattern is available for $4.70, 70 euro cents. They're also in euro. My friend Alana actually DM'd me these socks and she was like, you should knit them in gray and give the cat green eyes to match your cat. And I was like, yeah, I probably should, because there have been so many cat patterns that have come out that I'm like, oh, I should definitely knit my cat Charlie into a sweater because she's so cute. But gray and green really have to find a very specific shade of gray and then bright green for her eyes. So that is a life quest that I'm on. I think specifically to knit the cat knit pullover, but I'm on a tangent. Let's talk about the Pumpcat socks. These are super cute. Once again, the majority of the color work is on the ankle, a cute little textured heel, and then there's some additional color work right at the end to wrap up the toe. These are so cute, and I actually have another pattern by Renard and Dormy on here. So let's talk about the spooky season socks. More cats, yay! These are available for €4.70, and these spooky season socks feature bats, cats, and skulls. That's kind of like the Halloween trifecta, is it not? These are just so cute. Once again, I fear we are in the 3-color color work territory. I love a complicated pattern. What can I say? There's no ease of getting your point across in my world. It's always gonna be 3-color color work, apparently. And these are super cute to be handing out candy in. To go with the Arachne pullover, I also want to talk about the Sneaky Spider socks, because these socks also use a similar textured knitting technique to create spiders on the ankles of the sock. I thought that this was such a cool and unique idea that I've never seen before. This is available for $5 Canadian, and this pattern features a couple different spiders on different lengths of web on the sock. I love how subtle this detail is, and this is something that I am really tempted to knit because I do think I'm gonna be in my sock knitting era after I finish all these sweaters. Truly famous last words, because I will probably be buying a sweater quantity of yarn at Rhinebeck. This is definitely on my list to knit because I just have to know how she does it. I have to know how these spiders are created, and I must do it for myself. Next are the Mothman socks by Emma Manos. These socks are available as a free Ravelry download, and it features cutie little Mothmen both around the ankle and around the toe. Fun Fiona lore fact is one of my first forays into creating media was I created a podcast with my best friend, and we have actually had 2 podcasts together, and the first one was about cryptids. It was kind of BuzzFeed Unsolved style, where I would do research on a cryptid, like as much research as you reasonably can on like creatures from folklore and urban legend, and then tell her about it. So that was really, really fun, and we both really love Mothman. Maybe I should knit these for her. I always say this about gift knits. Like, I'm so bad about actually finishing my gift knits. I literally have a gift knit for my dad stashed in my corner that I am like, hello, finish please. I think this would make a really good gift for her, and hopefully at some point I get around to doing that. I hate to promise someone a knit. I do. Speaking of free patterns, next is Memento by Calling for Orpheus. This is also a free Ravelry download. This is a super cute all over skull pattern if you're into skeletons for Halloween. I love that in the project photos they have them knit in alternate colors. That is one of my favorite ways to knit colorwork socks, is and a little alternate color moment. I feel like it's harder to get second sock syndrome if you're essentially knitting a different project. This is a really cute simple pattern. This looks like it uses short row heels. This is something that I am learning about socks, is I am fascinated by the different heel constructions, and short row heels are one of my least favorite. I do prefer a gusset heel, but when it comes to colorwork socks, short row heels all the way. What can I say? And I do love that with a short row heel you can do like the different colored like heel and toe if you really want to be fancy. Okay, everybody sound off for Charlotte Stone, because this is the Stone Knits portion of the video. I had to holster and try to find other designers, because Stone Knits, she's just the best at what she does. Like, let's be so for real. I have nothing but respect for her because she has a formula, she has such an eye for a simple colorwork design, and she executes. I'm beyond jealous of her box full of her colorwork socks, and seeing all of her videos and reels and following her on Instagram is what inspired me to knit socks to begin with. So to start off our discussion of Miss Charlotte Stone, we have I'm Batty for Halloween bat socks. These are available for 5 francs. just a super cute classic stone knits sock pattern. Now, okay, let's get into it for real. She has available the Spooky Sock Set, which features I Ain't Afraid of No Ghost socks with all over ghost patterns. Season of the Witch socks, which has a cutie little witch motif around the ankle, and then it's like a pretty basic sock after that if you're not looking for something that's a full all over color work commitment. If you're feeling like taking your Halloween theming from spooky to extraterrestrial, you can always check out the Truth Is Out There socks. And then there's the Just Peachy Pumpkin set, which features orange shaped motifs, so you can always just go for the pumpkin socks. With that said, I'm going to go back to my rest of my Halloween collection. If you are a Stone Knits fan, you know where to find her work. She is one of the most prolific colorwork sock pattern designers out there. Queen, icon living. Let's talk about the Ouija mittens. These are by Carrie Hartnett. These are available for $5.50 USD. I love the different palms on them. The fact that they say no and yes is so sick. And I think I'm gonna be really into colorwork mittens this winter. I need to be taking on smaller projects. These are also knit in fingering weight yarn on 2.25mm needles, so you could use your sock needles for them if you're into a mini circular needle for sock knitting. Maybe this is something that I'm gonna be knitting this year. I also wanted to shout out Raven Light by Harper B. This digital pattern is discontinued, and I'm upset about it because I really want to knit them. This is knit in fingering weight yarn on, it just has a range of needle sizes. It's got a Plague Doctor theme. You know that I love a Plague Doctor theme. Very sad to see these discontinued, and I would like to make them. Oh my god, I forgot to mention, and maybe I'll just like splice this into the video earlier with editing Fiona, but the Eclipse of Moth sweaters by Clara Cecilia Knitwear is another really gorgeous, but this is thankfully a two-color colorwork pattern, another circular yoke pattern. I actually got to test knit it for her, and I love how mine came out. It is one of my most worn me makes to date. It's also a really good option for spooky season. Gotta make sure that I include that one in here. A lot of Clara's patterns are kind of like spooky inspired, so if you're interested in like some more of those like gothic themes, definitely check out her work. I'm a really big fan, and her patterns are really well written. Shout out to Clara. Okay, and for any of you crocheters who stuck around, there is the Granny Square Skull Sweater by Sarah Rosato. Okay, this says it's also discontinued, but if you can find a skull granny square, which I will find for you and I will link in here as soon as I can, you can make a bunch of granny squares and sew them into a sweater. Ooh, there's also like the I think it's called the I See You sweater by Just the Worsted. Hold on, we're going on Instagram. Like, can you tell that I did a lot of research for this? Okay, her patterns are on Etsy. We were doing a Ravelry deep dive, that's why that didn't come up. Halloween crochet sweater pattern. I See You, it was a crazy pull for a name. It's just an eyeball granny square pattern. I love how ooky spooky it is. It's a very different take on the other classic Halloween tropes that I was showing, and it's an excellent crochet pattern for anyone looking to crochet a fun Halloween garment. Okay, let's wrap her up. I got back into fiber arts by teaching myself how to crochet because I wanted to make amigurumi. My mom taught me how to knit when I was like 10, and so I've just always had it in my skill set. I just didn't really get so into it until I became an adult and I had free time and income, which is something that you don't have when you are in college. I did pull this free crochet ghost pattern by Lillian Rose amigurumi. I really love amigurumi. There's always going to be a soft spot in my heart for them. I did pull this free crochet ghost pattern by Lillian Rose amigurumi. I've actually made this pattern several times over because I had some leftover white like plushy yarn that I just like made it and I gave it to friends. Really recommend this pattern. It's great. It's easy. A lot of Lillian Rose amigurumi's patterns, there we go, are really excellent. I've made a bunch in my time crocheting and making amigurumi. One last Halloween pattern that I want to note is the Handsome Cable Pumpkin by Sarah Kiesel. It's a free Ravelry download. It uses worsted weight yarn on 4mm needles to knit up this cute cabled pumpkin. to just have as home decor. My camera actually overheated and turned itself off, so, and I don't know where in my sentence it cut me off, but this was the last pattern that I wanted to talk about anyway. So I figured I'll just wrap it up here. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know if there are any Halloween patterns that you love and I missed and I should see, because it's frickin' bats. I love Halloween.
Look at, it's frickin' bats. I love Halloween.
And let me know what you're knitting for spooky season, because I'm nosy and I want to know. Thank you so much for watching. This was super fun. Let me know if you enjoyed so I can do more Ravelry roundups in the future. I have a couple planned because I also like to do these Ravelry roundup dumps on TikTok. Speaking of which, if you don't follow me already, I also post a lot of short form content on Instagram and TikTok. Both are going to be linked in the description as well as like in my bio, like all the usual ways to find me. Just kind of getting back into doing YouTube, new camera. It's like hopefully gonna change the game a little bit here as I still figure out how to make it work. Thanks for hanging out with me. This was super fun. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!